Hello, story lovers. Tonight we're diving into a tale of passion, secrets, and choices that could change everything. Hearts will be broken, love will be tested, and every twist will leave you on the edge of your seat. Comment below where you're watching from, and if this story moves you, hit like, subscribe. Share it with someone who loves a powerful love story, and tap the bell so you never miss the next thrilling chapter. Ready? Let's begin. Asterisk, the crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the marble floor as Emma Rosewood adjusted her simple black dress. She had deliberately chosen the most modest outfit in her wardrobe tonight, avoiding the designer gowns that filled her closet. At 28, Emma had learned that sometimes the best disguise was simplicity itself. The St. Regis ballroom buzzed with the chatter of New York's elite, their jewelry glittering like stars against the dim lighting. Emma moved through the crowd with practiced ease, her trained eye cataloging the faces of tech moguls, oil barons, and old money families. None of them suspected that the quiet woman in the corner controlled a technology empire worth $12 billion. A deep voice interrupted her thoughts. Emma Thompson, right? Emma turned to find herself face to face with James Mitchell, his piercing blue eyes studying her with intense curiosity. She recognized him immediately from business magazines and financial reports. Mitchell Industries had been trying to acquire one of her subsidiary companies for months, not knowing she was the true owner behind the shell corporations. "I'm sorry. I think you have me confused with someone else," Emma replied softly, though something in his expression made her hesitate. James stepped closer, expensive cologne mixing with the scent of roses from the centerpieces. "No, I'm sure. It's you. We went to Columbia together. You sat in the back row of Professor Wilson's economics class. Always took notes in that little blue notebook." Emma's pulse quickened. She had never attended Columbia, had never even set foot on their campus. Her education had been private tutors and business mentors, carefully arranged by her grandfather after her parents died in a car accident when she was 16. Tell something about James' earnest certainty made her curious. Must have been someone else, she said, but didn't walk away. Hey. Emma Thompson from Portland, Oregon. Your father worked at the lumber mill and your mother was a teacher. Always worried about student loans and worked 3 jobs to pay for school. The details were so specific, so heartfelt that Emma found herself nodding along. Ever this. Emma Thompson was. She had clearly made an impression on James Mitchell. The irony wasn't lost on her that he remembered some struggling college student while having no idea. He was speaking to one of the most powerful business leaders in the country. "You remember all that about someone from college?" Emma said carefully, testing the waters. James smiled, and for a moment his businessman facade dropped away, revealing something vulnerable underneath. "You helped me through organic chemistry. I would have failed without you. I always wondered what happened to you after graduation." Emma made a decision that would change everything. Instead of correcting his mistake, she found herself saying, "Life has been challenging, I can imagine," James said, his voice filled with genuine concern. "Are you doing okay financially? I know how tough it can be out there." Emma almost laughed at the absurdity. Her personal checking account had more money than most small countries' GDP. Instead, she lowered her eyes and gave a small shrug. "I manage." James' expression softened further. "Listen, I know this might sound presumptuous, but I'd love to help. I mean, you helped me so much back in school." "Yeah, baby, I could return the favor. It's very kind, but I couldn't accept charity," Emma replied, playing her role perfectly. "Not charity," James insisted. "I have connections all over the city. I could help you find something better, something that pays well." "You're brilliant, Emma. You shouldn't be struggling." Emma felt a strange warmth in her chest. When was the last time someone had wanted to help her without knowing about her wealth? When was the last time someone had seen her as just Emma? "I work in consulting," she said vaguely. "Consulting is good." James nodded enthusiastically. "Kind of consulting? Business strategy? Technology implementation? That sort of thing?" "That's perfect. I could introduce you to some people who might need those services. Actually, my company's always looking for fresh perspectives on tech integration." Emma bit back a smile. Mitchell Industries had been hemorrhaging money on failed technology projects for 2 years, mainly because they refused to adapt to new market realities. She could fix their problems in a week, but that would rather defeat the purpose of her deception. "I'd be interested in learning more," she said instead. James' face lit up like a child on Christmas morning. "Really? That's fantastic. Here, let me give you my card." He reached into his jacket and produced an elegant business card with embossed lettering. "My direct line is on there. Call me tomorrow, and we'll set up a meeting." Emma accepted the card, running her fingers over the expensive paper. "This is very generous of you, James. It's the least I can do," he said. "You have no idea how much your tutoring meant to me back then. I was premmed, completely lost in chemistry. You made it make sense." I filed away this information. The real Emma Thompson must have been quite remarkable to leave such a lasting impression. She found herself genuinely curious about this woman who had helped shape the man standing before her. "Primed," she repeated. "Yes. But now you're in business." James' expression darkened slightly. "My father had other plans. Mitchell Industries needed an heir, and my older brother. Let's just say he wasn't suitable for the role." "Sorry," Emma said, sensing pain beneath his words. "Don't be. I've made peace with it. Besides, business has been good to me. Good enough that I can help. Old friends when they need it." The way he looked at her when he said old friends made Emma's stomach flutter in a way she hadn't experienced in years. Most men who approached her at events like this were either intimidated by her reputation or interested only in her money. James was looking at her like she was precious, someone worth protecting and caring for. "Would you like to dance?" James asked, extending his hand. Emma hesitated. Dancing with him felt like crossing a line, moving from harmless deception into something more dangerous. But when she looked into his eyes, she found herself placing her hand in his. As they moved onto the dance floor, neither of them noticed the man watching from the shadows near the bar. Oliver Hamilton raised his champagne glass in a silent toast, a knowing smile playing at his lips. He recognized Emma Rosewood immediately, and he was very interested to see what game she was playing with poor, unsuspecting James Mitchell. The evening was far from over, and the stakes were about to get much higher. James led her onto the dance floor with confident grace. His hand rested lightly on her waist as they moved to the slow jazz melody, and Emma was struck by how natural it felt. She was used to formal business dinners where every interaction was calculated, every conversation a potential negotiation. This felt different. This felt real. "You're a good dancer," she observed. "Boarding school," James explained with a self-deprecating smile. "They made us take ballroom dancing. I hated it at the time, but I suppose it's useful at events like this." "Boarding school sounds lonely," it was, James admitted. "That's probably why I remember college so fondly. It was the first time I felt like I could be myself, make real friends, people like you." Emma felt a pang of guilt. She was deceiving this man who was being so open with her, who clearly had fond memories of someone she wasn't. But she also felt something else, something she hadn't expected. She was falling for him. "Tell me about your business," she said. Changing the subject, James' enthusiasm was infectious as he described Mitchell Industries. His plans for expansion, his frustrations with outdated systems and resistant board members. Emma found herself genuinely impressed by his vision even. As she mentally cataloged all the ways his company was failing to execute those visions. "The technology sector is particularly challenging," James continued. "We're trying to break into new markets, but the competition is fierce. There are these mysterious companies that seem to come out of nowhere with revolutionary products. Take quantum dynamics, for example." Emma's heart skipped a beat. Quantum dynamics was her crown jewel, her most secretive and successful venture. They're this tech company that's been acquiring smaller firms and revolutionizing entire industries. Nobody knows who really runs it. The CEO is supposedly some reclusive genius, but they never make public appearances. It's like fighting a ghost. "Sounds intriguing," Emma managed. "Frustrating is more like it," James laughed. "But enough about work. Tell me about you. What have you been doing all these years?" Emma realized she was at a crossroads. She could end this charade now, tell him the truth, and walk away. Or she could continue down this path and see where it led. The smart thing would be to leave. She had built her empire by being cautious, by never taking unnecessary risks. But when James smiled at her, When he looked at her, like she was the most interesting person in the room, Emma found herself wanting to be reckless for once in her life. "I've been surviving," she said, which felt like the most honest thing she'd said all evening. "Well, now you've got someone in your corner," James said firmly. "I meant what I said about helping. I remember how kind you were, how you never made me feel stupid for not understanding something. The world needs more people like you, Emma." As the song ended, Emma made her decision. She would play this role a little longer, see what it felt like to be wanted for herself rather than her wealth. "I'd like that," she said softly. "I'd like that very much." James squeezed her hand gently. "Good, because I have a feeling this is the beginning of something special." Only he knew how right he was, Emma thought, and how wrong. 3 days later, Emma stared at her reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows of her penthouse office, watching the city wake up 30 floors below. The charity gala felt like a dream now, but James' business card sat on her mahogany desk as proof that it had really happened. Her assistant, Rachel Torres, knocked and entered, carrying a steaming cup of coffee and a tablet loaded with the morning's business reports. Rachel had been Emma's closest friend since their MBA program at Wharton, one of the few people who knew the full extent of Emma's empire and the loneliness that came with it. "You look terrible," Rachel said bluntly, setting the coffee down. "Please tell me you didn't spend all night obsessing over quarterly projections again." "I met someone," Emma said quietly, still looking out at the city. Rachel nearly dropped her tablet. "You met someone? A real, breathing human man who doesn't know your net worth? It's complicated." Emma turned from the window and collapsed into her leather chair. "He thinks I'm someone else. Someone from his college. Someone who struggled financially. You didn't correct him." Rachel's eyebrows shot up. "Emma, that's not like you. You're usually brutally honest in business dealings." "This isn't business," Emma said, picking up James' card again. "His name is James Mitchell. He owns Mitchell Industries." Rachel's expression changed immediately. "Mitchell Industries. Emma, they've been trying to acquire TechFlow Solutions for months." "That's one of your companies, I know." Emma rubbed her temples. "He has no idea he was talking to the owner of the company he's trying to buy. Thinks I'm a struggling consultant named Emma Thompson." "This is dangerous," Rachel warned, sitting down across from Emma's desk. "What happens when he finds out? The truth? What happens when he realizes you've been lying to him?" Emma didn't have an answer. All she knew was that, for the first time in years, someone had looked at her and seen just Emma. Not the Rosewood fortune or the mysterious CEO of Quantum Dynamics. James' call came at exactly 9 o'clock, just as Emma was reviewing the morning's stock reports. She let it ring twice before answering, not wanting to seem too eager. "Emma, it's James Mitchell from last night. I hope I'm not interrupting anything important." His voice was warm and confident, and Emma found herself smiling despite her reservations. "Good morning, James. Thank you for calling. I've been thinking about our conversation, and I'd love to set up that meeting. Are you free for lunch today? There's this little place in Midtown that makes incredible pasta. Nothing fancy, but the food is amazing." Emma's calendar was packed with board meetings and acquisition calls, but she heard herself saying that, "Sounds perfect. Great. Antonio's on 47th Street. Say 12:30. I'll be there." After she hung up, Emma stared at the phone, her heart racing. She was about to have lunch with a man who was trying to buy her company while pretending to be someone she'd never met. The rational part of her mind screamed that this was insane, but for the first time in her adult life, Emma Rosewood was choosing her heart over her head. What she didn't know was that across town, Oliver Hamilton was making a phone call of his own, one that would shatter the fragile world she was building with James Mitchell. Antonio's was exactly as James had described it, a tiny Italian restaurant tucked between a dry cleaner and a bookstore, with checkered tablecloths and the smell of garlic heavy in the air. Emma arrived first, choosing a corner table where she could watch the door. She had changed into a simple sweater and jeans, the kind of outfit Emma Thompson might wear. When James walked in, his face lit up at the sight of her. He looked different without his expensive suit, more relaxed in dark jeans and a navy sweater that brought out his eyes. You found it, he said, sliding into the seat across from her.
I was worried you might think I was crazy for suggesting such a hole-in-a-wall place.
It's perfect, Emma said, and meant it. When was the last time she'd eaten anywhere that didn't require reservations months in advance? They ordered wine and pasta, and the conversation flowed as easily as it had at the gala, James told her. About his frustrations with his board of directors, his dreams of expanding into renewable energy, his complicated relationship with his father who had built the company from nothing. He started with a single construction contract in Queens, James said, twirling linguine around his fork. Worked 16-hour days for 30 years to build Mitchell Industries. I respect the hell out of him for that, but he can't understand why I want to change things. Change is hard for people who've built their success on doing things one way, Emma offered carefully. Exactly. He thinks my interest in technology is just a phase. Meanwhile, we're hemorrhaging clients to companies that actually understand the digital age. Emma took a sip of wine, fighting the urge to tell him exactly how to fix his company's problems. What would you do if you had complete control? James' eyes brightened. Completely overhaul our tech infrastructure. Invest in AI-driven project management, sustainable materials. Maybe even partner with one of those innovative tech companies. There's this one called Quantum Dynamics that I'm fascinated by. They're revolutionary, but completely secretive. Why not try to partner with them? I've tried. The representatives are polite, but evasive. They seem to prefer acquiring companies rather than partnering with them. James leaned forward, but enough about my problems. Tell me about your consulting work. What kind of projects do you take on? Emma had prepared for this question, but sitting across from James, seeing the genuine interest in his eyes, the lies, felt heavier on her tongue. It's mostly small businesses struggling with digital transformation. It's rewarding work, helping people adapt to change. That's exactly what we need, James said. Would you be interested in taking a look at Mitchell Industries? I can't pay consultant rates right now, but I could offer a decent project fee. Emma's heart clenched. He was offering her work because he thought she needed money. The kindness in his gesture made her deception feel even more wrong. James, I should tell you something, she began, but was interrupted by her phone buzzing with an urgent text from Rachel. Emergency. Oliver Hamilton just called? He knows. Get out now. Emma's blood went cold. Oliver Hamilton was a rival tech mogul with a reputation for corporate espionage and dirty tricks. If he knew who she really was, if he knew about her deception with... James, I'm sorry, Emma said, standing abruptly. I have to go. Family emergency. Confusion flashed across James' face. Is everything okay? Do you need help? No. I'll call you later. Emma threw money on the table and practically ran from the restaurant, leaving James staring after her in bewilderment. Back in her penthouse, Emma paced while Rachel filled her in on Oliver's call. He said he had some interesting information. About your new romantic interest, Rachel reported grimly. He wants to meet tomorrow to discuss a mutually beneficial arrangement. He's going to blackmail me, Emma said flatly. Threatened to tell James who I really am unless I what?
Kiff.
Him inside information? Sabotage my own companies? Probably. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? Emma stared out at the city lights, thinking about James' smile. The way he'd wanted to help her. The gentleness in his voice when he talked about the struggling college student he thought she'd been. I'm going to end it, she said quietly. I'll tell James the truth before Oliver can use it against me. Emma, are you sure? Won't you tell him there's no going back? He'll know you've lied to him about everything. I know. Emma's voice was barely a whisper. But I'd rather hurt him with the truth than let Oliver destroy him with lies. She picked up her phone to call James, but it rang before she could dial. James' name appeared on the screen. Emma, thank God. I was worried after you ran out. Dar. You okay? His concern for her fake emergency made Emma's chest tight with guilt. James, I need to see you. There's something I have to tell you. Of course, do you want me to come to you? Meet me at Central Park? The Bow Bridge? 1 hour. Emma, you're scaring me. Whatever it is, we can handle it together. Together. The word hit Emma like a physical blow. There would be no together. After tonight, there would only be the truth and the wreckage it would leave behind. 1 hour, she repeated, and hung up. As Emma prepared to destroy the only genuine relationship she'd had in years, she had no way of knowing that James was dealing with a crisis of his own. An hour earlier, his private investigator had delivered a file that would change everything. The real Emma Thompson had been dead for 3 years, killed in a car accident in Portland. The woman he was falling in love with was someone else entirely. And James Mitchell was about to discover just how dangerous it was to fall for a ghost. The bow bridge was nearly empty at 10 o'clock, the city lights reflecting off the dark water below like scattered diamonds. Emma arrived first, gripping the stone railing as she rehearsed what she would say. Do you tell someone that everything they believe about you is a lie? James appeared at the far end of the bridge, walking slowly toward her. Even in the dim light, she could see the tension in his shoulders, the careful way he moved. Something was wrong. Thank you for coming, Emma said, when he stopped a few feet away from her. Before you say whatever you came here to say, James replied, his voice strangely flat, I need to ask you something. Who are you really? Emma's heart stopped. What do you mean? James pulled out a manila folder and held it between them like a shield. Emma Thompson died 3 years ago in a car. A accident in Portland. I had you investigated after you ran out of lunch today. So I'll ask again. Who are you? The words hit Emma like a physical blow. All her careful planning, her confession, rendered meaningless. He already knew she'd been lying. James, I can explain, can you? His voice was sharp with betrayal. Because I've been going crazy trying to figure out why the woman I thought I remembered from college didn't exist. Why my memories didn't match reality. Was any of it real, or was I just a mark in some elaborate con? Emma stepped toward him, but he backed away. It wasn't a con. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Then what was it supposed to be? James demanded. Who are you, and what do you want from me? Emma took a shaking breath. It was no way out now, except through the truth. My name is Emma Rosewood. I'm the CEO of Quantum Dynamics. Very still. Quantum Dynamics. The company I told you I was fascinated by. The company that's been acquiring every innovative startup I try to partner with. Yes. The ghost company that's been systematically destroying my ability to compete in the tech sector. Emma flinched. Put like that, it sounded ruthless, predatory. That's not how I see it. How do you see it? James' voice was deadly quiet. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been playing games with me while simultaneously dismantling my business. Was that the plan? Get close to me, learn my strategies, then undermine me more effectively? No, Emma's voice cracked. I never planned any of this. At the gala, you mistook me for someone else, and I was curious. I was lonely. Do you have any idea what it's like to have billions of dollars and no one who sees you is just Emma? So you decided to lie to me instead? Decided to see what it felt like to be wanted for myself instead of my money. You were so kind, so genuine. You wanted to help someone you thought was struggling. James laughed bitterly. Kind. Right, and while I was being kind to fake Emma, Rielma was busy destroying my company. I didn't know you then. The acquisitions, the competition, that's just business. Just business, James repeated. Do you know how many people you put out of work when you acquired Henderson Tech? They were my biggest partner. 47 people lost their jobs because you wanted their patents. Emma felt sick. She'd never thought about the human cost of her acquisitions in personal terms. It was always just numbers on spreadsheets, assets to be absorbed. I'm sorry. She whispered, Are you? Because I have to wonder if this whole thing was just another acquisition strategy. Get the CEO of Mitchell Industries to fall for you, then destroy him when he's vulnerable. That's not true. Emma reached for him again, but James stepped further back. Isn't it? You've been in my head for days, Emma. I've been sharing my business strategies, my weaknesses, my dreams, everything you'd need to know to finish me off. The accusation hit Emma like a slap. You think I'm that calculated? That cruel? I think you're a billionaire CEO who built an empire by being calculated and cruel. The question is whether I was just another business deal to you, before Emma could respond. Slow applause echoed across the bridge. Oliver Hamilton emerged from the shadows, clapping mockingly. Bravo! Oliver said, his smile sharp as a blade. What a touching reunion. Though I have to say, Emma, I expected better from you than this amateur or a romance nonsense. Oliver, Emma warned, but he was already walking toward James. Mr. Mitchell, isn't it, Oliver Hamilton? I believe your lovely companion here has been keeping some secrets from you. James looked between them, confusion replacing some of his anger. Who is this? Someone who knows exactly what kind of woman you're dealing with, Oliver said smoothly. Tell me, has she mentioned that she's been planning to acquire Mitchell Industries for months? That she's been using you to get inside information about your company's vulnerabilities? That's not true, Emma said desperately, but she could see doubt creeping into James' eyes. Oliver pulled out his phone and showed James a document. This is a preliminary acquisition report on Mitchell Industries. It's dated 3 weeks before you met our dear Emma. It outlines exactly how to destabilize your company and acquire it at a fraction of its value. Emma's world tilted. She recognized the document. It was one of her standard business analyses, but seeing it now, after everything that had happened with James, it looked damning. You had me investigated before we ever met, James said slowly, his voice hollow. It's not what you think, Emma pleaded. Every major company investigates potential acquisitions. It doesn't mean what? That you planned this whole charade, that you've been playing me from the beginning. Oliver's smile widened. Oh, it gets better. Show him the real acquisition timeline, Emma. Show him when you actually plan to make your move. Emma closed her eyes. The timeline would show that the formal acquisition process was supposed to begin this week, right when she was supposed to be getting close to James. Emma, James said quietly, show me. She pulled out her phone with trembling hands and showed him the timeline. James stared at it for a long moment, his face going completely blank. Week, he said finally. You are going to destroy my company next week, James. Please let me explain. Explain what? That this was all an act? That every moment we shared was just you setting me up for the kill? No, it wasn't like that. Fell for you. I fell for you, and that's why I was going to tell you the truth tonight. I was going to call off the acquisition. Were you? Oliver interjected. 'Cause my sources say the paperwork was filed this afternoon? Emma spun to face him. Board moved forward with the Mitchell Industries acquisition. As of 4 o'clock today, it's official. Congratulations, Emma. You got what you wanted. The blood drained from Emma's face. Her board had acted without her authorization, probably. Pushed by Oliver's manipulation behind the scenes, James was looking at her like she was a stranger, like she was something dangerous. You won, he said softly. You actually won. James, I didn't authorize this. I was going to stop it. I was going to choose you over the business. But you didn't, did you? When it came down to it, the business chose for you. Emma felt tears streaming down her face, but James was already walking away. James, please. He stopped and turned back one last time. You know what the worst part is? For just a few days, I thought I'd found someone who saw me as more than just a means to an end. But you're just like everyone else in this world. Everything is a transaction. That's not true, Emma whispered. But he was already disappearing. Into the darkness, Oliver clapped her on the shoulder with mock sympathy. Don't look so devastated, darling. You just acquired a $200 million company. Most people would be celebrating. Emma turned to face him, her grief transforming into rage. You orchestrated this. You pushed my board to move forward. I simply pointed out that waiting was a poor business strategy. Your feelings for Mitchell were making you weak. What do you get out of this? Oliver's smile was cold. Mitchell Industries was developing some very interesting renewable energy technology that would have made them a serious competitor to my own green energy investments. Now that you own them, I trust you'll be more cooperative about sharing those innovations. Emma stared at him in horror. You used me to eliminate your competition. I used your emotions to eliminate your judgment. Really, Emma? I'm surprised. At you, falling for a mark is the first mistake of any good con artist. As Oliver walked away, Emma sank down onto a bench, her empire feeling like ashes in her mouth. She had everything she thought she wanted, and she had never felt more empty. Somewhere in the city, James Mitchell was probably packing his office. His dreams of saving his father's company crumbling around him. It was all her fault. The question was, what was she willing to sacrifice to make it right? Emma didn't sleep for 3 days. She sat in her penthouse office, staring at the acquisition papers that would make her richer and James's world smaller. Her board was celebrating. Her stock price was soaring. She felt like she was dying. Inside, Rachel found her there on the 3rd morning, still in the same clothes, surrounded by empty coffee cups and crumpled legal documents. "You look like hell," Rachel said gently, setting down fresh coffee and a bagel Emma wouldn't eat. "I destroyed him," Emma whispered. "I destroyed the only person who ever saw me as just Emma, so fix it." Emma laughed bitterly. "How?" Thinks. "I planned the whole thing. Thinks every moment we shared was manipulation. Maybe he's right. Maybe I am exactly what he thinks I am. Are you?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Emma thought about the woman she'd been 3 weeks ago. Ruthless, calculating, brilliant at business, and terrible at being human. Then she thought about the woman she'd become in James's eyes, someone worth protecting, worth caring for, worth loving. "I don't know anymore," Emma admitted. Rachel sat down across from her. "Then figure it out. But figure it out fast, because James Mitchell just filed for bankruptcy. His company is finished." Emma's head snapped up. "What? Without the renewable energy contracts Mitchell Industries was banking on? Without their tech? Partnerships that you systematically acquired, they can't service their debt. James fired half his staff yesterday to try to save the rest, but it's too late." Emma felt sick. His father. The company his father built from nothing will be gone by the end of the month unless someone intervenes. Emma stared at the acquisition papers, and suddenly she knew what she had to do. It would cost her everything she'd built, everything she'd worked for. But maybe some things were worth more than money. "Rachel, get my lawyers on the phone. All of them. Call an emergency." "Board meeting, Emma. What are you planning?" "I'm planning to burn down my empire to save one man's world." The board meeting was a bloodbath. Emma's directors, her investors, everyone who had helped build quantum dynamics into a powerhouse, stared at her in horror as she outlined her plan. "You want to give away $2 billion in assets?" Board member Harrison Wells spluttered. "Emma, this is financial suicide." "I want to return the companies we acquired under false pretenses," Emma said calmly, "starting with every business we took from Mitchell Industries' ecosystem. I want to fund a renewable energy initiative that will make them the leader in sustainable construction, and I want to do it anonymously. Shareholders will revolt," another board member warned. "You could lose control of your own company." "I know." "Emma," Wells leaned forward, "I know you're going through some kind of personal crisis, but this isn't just about you. Thousands of people depend on quantum dynamics for their livelihoods. You can't destroy all of that for one man." Emma stood, her hands steady, despite the magnitude of what she was about to do. "You're right, I can't destroy all of it, which is why I'm only destroying my part of it." She pulled out a document she'd spent all night preparing. "This is my resignation as CEO of Quantum Dynamics. It's also the transfer of all my personal holdings in the company to an employee trust. Every person who works for us will own a piece of the company they helped build." The room erupted in shouts, but Emma wasn't finished. "I'm keeping just enough assets to execute the Mitchell Industries restoration plan. After that, I'll be Emma Rosewood, former billionaire, current nobody. And that's exactly what I want to be." 2 weeks later, James Mitchell stood in his father's old office, staring at documents he couldn't quite believe. Mitchell Industries' debt had been mysteriously paid off by an anonymous investor. Every company that had been acquired from their ecosystem had been returned or offered new, incredibly favorable partnerships. A renewable energy fund had appeared out of nowhere, offering them the chance to become pioneers in sustainable construction. "Impossible," his CFO said for the 10th time. "Nobody gives away this kind of money without wanting something in return." James's private investigator had been working around the clock to trace the source of the mysterious funding, but every lead disappeared into a maze of shell corporations and legal barriers. "Sir," his assistant knocked on the door. "There's someone here to see you." She says, "It's about the anonymous investor." James looked up to see a woman in a simple gray suit, her hair pulled back severely, looking nothing like the polished executive he'd expected. She was thin, tired-looking, carrying a single manila folder. "Mr. Mitchell, my name is Rachel Torres. I was Emma Rosewood's assistant." James's blood went cold at the mention of Emma's name. Was? She resigned as CEO 2 weeks ago, gave up her entire fortune to save your company. The room seemed to tilt. "That's impossible." Rachel placed the folder on his desk. "That's what I thought too. But Emma Rosewood just went from being worth $12 billion to having about 50,000 in her checking account. Every asset she had went into the Mitchell Restoration Fund." James opened the folder with shaking hands. Inside were bank records, transfer documents, and a single handwritten letter addressed to him. "She doesn't know I'm here," Rachel continued. "She made me promise not to tell you. But I couldn't let you think some stranger saved your company. She destroyed her entire life to give you back yours." James's hands trembled as he unfolded Emma's letter. "James, I know you'll never forgive me, and I don't expect you to, but I need you to know that every moment we shared was real for me. Maybe it started as curiosity, as loneliness, but it became love, real love. The kind that makes you want to be better than you are. You were right about me. I was ruthless. I was calculating. I built an empire by stepping on people like you, and I told myself it was just business. But you made me see the faces behind the balance sheets, made me see that every decision I made affected real people with real dreams. I can't undo the past, but I can try to fix the future. By the time you read this, Mitchell Industries will be stronger than it ever was. Your father's legacy will be secure. Your dreams of renewable energy leadership will be reality. And I'll be nobody, which is what I should have been from the beginning. Love you, James. I love the man who wanted to help a struggling consultant without asking for anything in return. I love the man who remembered a kind classmate for 20 years. I love the man who sees the best in people, even when they don't deserve it. I hope someday you can remember our time together without hating me for it." Emma James read the letter 3 times before the words fully sank in. Where is she now? Working. As a business consultant in Queens, Rachel said quietly. She rented a studio apartment above a bakery. Takes the subway to meetings. She's living the life she pretended to live with you. Why would she do this? Because she fell in love with a man who valued integrity over wealth. And she decided she'd rather be worthy of that love and lose it than keep her fortune and know she didn't deserve it. James stared out the window at the city where Emma was somewhere living a life of deliberate poverty, having sacrificed everything for his dreams. "Rachel," he said finally, "do you have her address?" Emma was reviewing a client proposal in her tiny apartment when the knock came. She'd been living as Emma Thompson for real now for 2 weeks, and it was surprisingly liberating. No boardrooms, no hostile takeovers, no weight of billions pressing down on her shoulders. Just her expertise, her laptop, the satisfaction of helping small businesses thrive. She opened the door expecting her landlord, and instead found James Mitchell standing in her hallway looking as shocked by her modest surroundings as she was by his presence. "Gave it all up," he said without preamble. "Everything. For me." Emma's heart hammered against her ribs. "Rachel wasn't supposed to tell you. She was right to tell me. I spent 2 weeks thinking I was saved by some guilty stranger. I should have known it was you." "Why?" Emma stepped back, letting him into her small space. "Because I'm so predictable." "'Cause you're the only person I've ever met who would sacrifice everything to prove a point." They stood in her living room, which was smaller than her old office bathroom, the silence heavy between them. "I don't forgive you," James said finally, and Emma's heart broke a little more. "I can't forgive you for lying to me, for making me doubt everything I felt." Emma nodded, tears threatening. "I understand. But I also can't forgive you for this," James continued, gesturing around her apartment. "For throwing your life away because you thought it would somehow make up for hurting me. I didn't throw it away. I chose a different life. Did you? Or did you choose to punish yourself?" Emma looked around at her sparse apartment, her secondhand furniture, her life stripped down to its essentials. "Maybe both." James stepped closer. "Emma, I was angry. I was hurt. I said things I didn't mean about you being calculating and cruel. But what you did, giving up everything for people you hurt, that's not calculation. That's conscience. It doesn't change what I did to you. No, it doesn't. But it changes who you are. James reached out and touched her face gently. The Emma I fell for was real. She was just buried under $12 billion and a lifetime of protecting herself. Emma leaned into his touch despite herself. I don't know how to be her all the time. Then learn. We'll learn together. James, I'm nobody now. I have nothing to offer you. You're wrong, James said softly. You're Emma. Just Emma. And that's exactly who I fell in love with. It kissed her then, gentle and full of forgiveness and possibility. When they broke apart, Emma was crying. I love you, she whispered. I love you enough to let you walk away if this is too much. It is too much, James admitted. It's crazy and complicated and probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. I'd rather have something real and difficult with you than something easy and fake with anyone else. Emma smiled through her tears. Even if I'm just a struggling consultant from Queens, especially then, James said, pulling her close. I have to warn you, I might need some tutoring in organic chemistry. I'm still terrible at it. Emma laughed, the sound bright and free in her small apartment. For the first time in her life, she was exactly where she belonged, in the arms of a man who loved her for who she was, not what she had. Outside the city, hummed with ambition and dreams and the endless pursuit of more. But inside her tiny apartment, Emma Rosewood had found something worth more than all the money in the world. A love that was real. A man who was true, and a second chance to be the person she was meant to be. The end.